I just want to talk about time management and what I've learned in that section of the class. I really the three tools of time management really had an impact on me, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to use it in my life because I've never really planned anything in my life, used a planner or anything. So like the first thing was a to-do list, and I implement a to-do list every day. In the morning, I wake up and I figure out what I have to do today, like what I have to get done, and by when, and what's important and stuff like that. Then I also use the semester plan. At the very beginning of the semester, when we first learned about this, I wrote down my semester plan, and I've stuck to it. I wrote down important dates and what I need to do to prepare for those dates, like exams and stuff. And then I've also really used the weekly schedule. This has had like the biggest impact from the three tools. At the beginning of the week, I write down a schedule and I stick to it every week. And it leaves room for like flexibility and stuff, like in case things come up. But for the most part, it's fixed, and I know what I need to do every day. So that's what I've learned about time management.
So I'm going to talk about study skills, and pretty much what I've learned this year, I think probably the most helpful tip I've learned is just I have a really bad habit. I always study sitting in my bed or whatever, and then I always end up falling asleep. And I learned that on the first day of this class to not do that, because you associate your bed and your bedroom with sleeping, and so I haven't studied in there this whole semester, and I've honestly done a lot better.
What I learned from the class about note-taking is that with the three-step study plan, we get to know how to gather information correctly, how to plan properly, how to recall information, and how to recognize all the information that we need for a test. And the 3 steps to a study plan is to gather information, to check for understanding, and check for learning.
One of my favorite things that I learned from this class is how to remember things better. For example, using funny words or phrases to associate with other words that you're trying to remember. For example, if you're trying to remember that President Taft was the one that got stuck in the bathtub, you could say, bathtub. It may help you remember. Also, you can use real-life associations to help you remember things, or use the words and phrases you're trying to remember, incorporate them into a story, or use visuals to help you remember them as well.
So there's a lot of problems that students face with reading. Sometimes it can be hard to understand the material. It can be hard to remember the material. Sometimes there's a lot of overwhelming reading to be done, and that can be caused by problems like reading rate or putting different phrases and words into context. And one big problem is just being bored or boredom of reading. Sometimes reading isn't that exciting, and that's understandable. But there's a lot of things that students can do to help that out. One thing is putting words and phrases into context before you read and finding out the connection and flow of a textbook.
The 4 basic components of IRKE model are represented in the letters of the name. I stands for illustrate, which is where you take down the notes from the lecture. Interrelate is where you make relationships between your notes. Create a plan is the steps of connections. And evaluate is where you talk to yourself and try to make an understanding of the things that you learned.
Okay, so I like to quiz myself and use flashcards. I find that really helpful. I take a lot of really good notes during class, and think that's really good when it comes to studying later, because you're going over the notes and what's going to be used on tests and quizzes and whatnot. And so I take my notes from class and then I rewrite them and then I type them. So now I've seen them 3 times, and it's really helpful, I guess, because you're seeing the material again. I try to rephrase things. Flashcards are really helpful. The internet can be a great source. I go to the BYU library all the time.
One of the most important things, I think, is having a purpose to read, or finding a purpose to read. If you understand why you're reading that material, that's a really important thing, because if you just are reading it because it was assigned, then it gets pretty difficult to push yourself forward. So.
I just forgot what I was saying.
You're good. Okay. How's it going? I just want to talk about
How to remember things better. Does that even make any sense? Are you filming this?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Another thing is something that I'm trying to remember.